It's August 12th, 2015. Do you know what happened on this day a year ago? Yep, you're looking at it. Exactly 1 year ago today, PT was released on the PlayStation Store. I had no idea, so how did I find out about this masterpiece's existence? I looked at my friends list and noticed that my brother was playing a game called PT. I just thought to myself, PT? What the hell is that? So I googled it, but nothing came up in the results. My brother sent me a text message later asking me if I had played PT yet. I told him that I had noticed he was playing PT, but I had not played of it, nor have I heard of it myself. He told me that it was on the PlayStation Store now, and it's the scariest game he had ever played, and that it took place in one hallway, and that he highly recommended it. Just him saying that it was the scariest game he had ever played was more than enough to catch my attention. Sorry, I should explain. I'm a huge horror fan. I absolutely love being scared when playing video games. I can't explain it, I just absolutely love it. I love it when I hate playing a game because I'm so terrified of it. The earliest memory I have of this example is when I first played the game The Original Silent Hill for the original PlayStation back in 1999. I was 12 years old when I played it. Now, of course, the argument should be made that I shouldn't have played an M-rated game at 12 years old, and I completely agree, it shouldn't have happened. It did happen though, and that game scared the hell out of me. I have two instances of Silent Hill scaring me so much. The first instance is when I went to bed the first night after playing it. At the time, I was sharing a bunk bed with my brother, and I was sleeping in the top bed. There's an alleyway between my house and the house next to my house. I was awakened by noise coming from the alleyway. Now there's a window right next to my bed, so I look out the window to investigate, and what I saw is something I'll never forget. I saw 3 of the little zombie kids that ambush you when you go looking for Cheryl. 2 of them were pushing around the 3rd kid as if they were playing hot potato with him. I gasped, and then I laid back down and hid underneath my bed sheets. It wasn't like a dream either. I was actually awake, so I was probably half asleep and half awake. One thing was for sure though, it was reality, but what I was seeing was in a dream. Does that make any kind of sense? The second instance was actually a dream. I was playing the game in my dream and I was too scared to continue, so I turned off the console and went to bed. Seconds later, the console turned itself back on and the game was again on the screen. So I got up, turned it back off, and went back to bed, and then once again it turned itself back on. This continued several times. This was the beauty of Silent Hill though. I love this shit. Silent Hill was the first scary game I'd ever played in my life, and it left a lasting impression on me. I still remember how I felt when I finally found all those 3 keys to that door in that one house, and then as soon as you opened the door and went outside, it got dark, and you had to find your way to the school. I was terrified, and all that eerie music that played until you found the school was icing on the cake. These are memories that will last a lifetime, and it's those kind of memories that are the best ones to have. Anyway, now that you have a little bit of a backstory, back to PT. My brother had sent me the teaser you see after you complete the game that it's Norman Reedus in Silent Hills, and said that apparently PT is a teaser for a new Silent Hill game. I nearly shit myself. The last Silent Hill game to me was Silent Hill 2, so I was excited to see that a new Silent Hill game was going to come out. So I went to the PlayStation Store and I found PT and I downloaded it. The second I saw that cockroach crawl across the floor and that door open, I knew I was in for a ride. And that sound the door makes when you first open it will always send chills down my spine. Upon entering the door and seeing the long hallway in front of me, I was already creeped out. It just has an uninviting, uncomfortable vibe to it. Then I noticed how little you could do. Just walking at a snail's pace and zooming is the only interactivity you could do. That was interesting to me. I heard the radio playing in the background but wasn't paying much attention to what it was saying. I just kept on surveying the hallway, growing more and more frightened by the second. I was loving it. It was awesome. I hadn't felt fear like that since, well, the first Silent Hill. A lot of people say that Amnesia: The Dark Descent is one of the scariest games ever, but I have to say that I disagree entirely. I'm not trying to sound tough or anything when I say this, because believe me, I don't consider myself tough by any stretch of the imagination. But Amnesia didn't scare me at all. Once in a while I was slightly creeped out, but remember that being creeped out and being scared are 2 different things. Amnesia was just too much waiting for something to happen, and I got bored of it very quickly. Amnesia is like Sesame Street compared to PT. So anyway, back to PT. When I entered the door at the bottom of the stairs and wound up in the same hallway, I knew what my brother was talking about. This time though, the radio wasn't playing, and that just amped up my fear tenfold, since now there was no background noise. All I was left with was this long, narrow hallway, and hearing the floor creak below my feet, and this was such an uneasy feeling. It was the fear of the unknown. The feeling that someone or something was watching you, but you didn't know for sure. You just know that something's up. Then when the door was closed and you were forced to slowly turn around, which is something that to this day I still don't like doing in PT. It's the fear that something is going to be behind you and you really don't want to turn around because you're frightened. The knocks on the door I did expect, though I was still scared because of the amazing atmosphere. Fast forward to the loop when the door closes on you, I was like, oh fuck. Then when I heard the bathroom door open and I turned around to see it slightly ajar, I was freaking out. I approached the door, and then when that music played and the baby started crying, I can't even describe in words how scared I was. Eventually, I discovered the zoom feature, then I zoomed in on the door only to nearly have a heart attack when Lisa shuts the door on you. I had to take a minute to compose myself before continuing on. The last thing I expected to see in the next loop was Lisa standing by the front door. I didn't know what to do. I looked back at the opening door and I knew that I wouldn't be able to go back. But I also didn't want to walk towards Lisa, but the choice wasn't mine to make. All I kept saying was, please don't jump at me or anything like that. The light turning off made it easier for me to go for some reason, and I have no idea why. It was incredible just how much tension and uneasiness I was feeling from this game. I had been playing it for maybe 5 minutes, but it felt like an eternity and I was drawn to it. I wanted to stop playing because I was petrified, but I also wanted to keep going because I was loving it at the same time. And let me tell you, when you're locked in the bathroom with that crying fetus and Lisa's trying to open the door, fuck my life. Every muscle in my body tensed up. There's a lot of reasons why I love PT as much as I did. For one, the atmosphere. It's incredible how much Hideo Kojima did with so little. The game has 2 rooms, the starting concrete room and the infinite hallway, the infamous infinite hallway. And how he managed to make that so utterly terrifying is beyond me. Hideo Kojima himself said that he's a scaredy cat when it comes to horror, so he wasn't sure if he could do Silent Hill justice, but at the same time, he felt there was a certain kind of horror that can only be accomplished by people who were scared easily. PT is so mysterious, and that was his goal, that was his intention. He wanted the game to be a big mystery because by doing that, it makes the game scarier. A second reason I love it is because of the camera. If you notice, the camera never stops moving. Even if you're standing completely still, there's a very subtle shaking movement of the camera to make sure it never stays still. And that super subtle detail just makes it all the more terrifying. There's also little things. For instance, 204-863. This number is referenced repeatedly during the game. What does it mean? Some people argue that it's simply Kojima's birthday, August 24th, 1963. And you know what? Maybe it is, but I can't help but think that there's more to it. And the fridge with the screaming baby? What is that supposed to reference? How about the radio announcer saying,
After killing the family, father hung himself with an umbilical cord.
After killing his family, the father hung himself with an umbilical cord in a muffled voice. And the quotes, don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started, as well as look behind you. I said look behind you.
Don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started. Look behind you. I said look behind you.
Is this designed to just fuck with us, or does it have some kind of meaning? These are all questions that we'll never have the answer to, and I'm honestly conflicted about knowing. Let's say you gave me the opportunity to have a conversation with Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro about PT, and I can get the reasoning behind everything in the game. As much as I do want to know it, I'm not sure I'd take that offer, because part of the reason why PT is as scary and incredible as it is because of the mystery behind it. If it hasn't already, PT will be a legend in the horror genre for people who had the chance to play it. When it was rumored that Silent Hills was cancelled, I went into shock and disbelief. I searched for answers, but I couldn't find any. So what did I do? I made a video about it. I didn't know what to say, but the only way I could vent my confusion and nervousness was by making a video, and I was surprised when it got over 300 views in just 2 days. Then, when Konami officially announced it, I was, and still am, absolutely furious. This was my dream come true. I wanted a horror game that left me so terrified that I wouldn't want to play it, and that's exactly what PT was. I had a very hard time even looking at it on the screen, with the trees and everything like that. Never mind actually booting the game up. The first few nights after I had played PT, I was wishing I had never even heard of it. I had to have the TV on to provide some background noise. Silent Hills was going to be my dream come true. Now, I say fuck Konami. To cancel Silent Hills, then pull PT from the PlayStation Store, and then remove the ability to re-download it from your download history, that's just pathetic, and I absolutely love looking at their Facebook posts being bombarded with backlash. They can't make a single post without people basically tell them to go fuck themselves. And yeah, they say, oh, well, we're committed to Silent Hill. Yeah, you can take that and shove it up your ass, because nothing you do will come anywhere near what Silent Hills was going to be with Guillermo del Toro and Hideo Kojima. It would have been the scariest game ever made, and the fact that it'll never happen has me fuming. This is easily the biggest disappointment I've ever experienced in my 20 plus years as a gamer. In closing, I just want to share my experiences with PT and why I thought it was a horror masterpiece. For those of you who didn't get the chance to play it, I sincerely apologize, because I legit feel bad for you, because you missed out big time. The only hope we have is for Kojima and Del Toro to make a Kickstarter for an indie horror game, and I bet that it would be fully funded and then some more within 30 minutes. That's how much of an impact PT had on the gaming community. I wanted to thank everyone who watches this video. Since it's a year since PT came into existence, I just want to share, and I hope you enjoyed this little tribute I made for PT. Feel free to share your experiences with the game below. Silent Hills, the game that won't ever be, and that's a shame. Konami, fuck you and rot in hell.